This is Professor Thomas's lecture video on the 8th grade pathways pre-test. This is the solutions and this is the test, the actual test. 8th grade pathway to success pre-test. Solutions, it says select all tables that represent a proportional relationship between x and y. And a proportional relationship is a direct variation. Most proportional relationships have the form y equals some k times x, and graphically a proportional relationship, a direct proportional or proportional relationship, is a line that goes through the origin. So it can be a line like this, it can be a line like this, a proportion can be a line like this. In other words, we know 0, 0 is going to be a point, and they all have 0, 0. And we also know that as x increases, the y values increase by a common multiple. Now let's see, to get 1 from 2, you got to multiply by 2. 2 times, to get 4, you got to multiply by 2. And to get 3, you got to multiply by 2. And so the k in this case is 2. The constant multiplier is 2. So this is definitely going to be a solution. The formula is y equals 2k. Y equals 2k is the formula for that. All right, there's your direct variation. Another thing you can do is also simply subtract the two values to get that 2 coordinate right there. All right, let's move on. This is not a direct variation. As you can see, it starts off 0, 0. If you multiply 2 by 4, you get 4. But how would you get 16 from 4? Well, we know what they did. They squared it. Again, they squared it. So this is actually, this is an x squared formula. This is not what we're dealing with. All right, and then here, as you can see, this is a direct variation. K is 5 in this case. Multiply by 5 to get the next value each time. All right, so the formula is y equals 5x. And in this case, as you can see, they're multiplying, they're squaring the numbers this time. All right, it looks like 4 squared, 6 squared, 8 squared. This is, in fact, this one is similar to this one. In fact, they look very, very similar. They're nearly the same. The only difference is this had a 2, and then it jumped to 4 and 6, and this one goes from 0, 4 to 6. But these are not a direct proportional relationship. Let's move on. So again, this is a direct proportional relationship. It goes through the origin. And if we try to find a point on the graph, we see that 2 hours is $20. Also 4 hours is 40, and we can figure that out immediately. 22, and then we also have that 40 is 4. And if we subtract them both, I mean, we're going to have negative 20 over negative 2. In other words, that's positive 10. So our formula is y equals 10x, or we could say it's c equals 10h, because our x is h and our y is c. Justin's car can travel 77.5 miles using 3.1 gallons. At this rate, how far will the miles can Justin travel in 8.2 gallons? So what we could do is say, well, we have 77.5 miles on top over the number of gallons is 3.1. And then we're going to set up proportion. Well, we don't know the number of miles, but we do know that it's 8.2 gallons. And now all we have to do is solve for x. All right, this could be done a number of different ways. We could have used a proportional diagram for percentages, all that different stuff. But at this point, to get x, you cross multiply. All right, so you're going to have 3.1 times x equals 77.5 times 8.2. Now, that is 77.5. Now, at this point, you do have to have a scientific calculator to figure this out. So I'm going to calculate this out just to make sure I know what it is. Just pull out a scientific calculator. 77.5 times 8.2. We've got 635.5. So we're dealing with 3.1x equals 635.5. And now we're going to divide that by 3.1. And so let's divide both sides by 3.1 and 3.1. When we do that, we get x equals 205. And so there it is. There's the check mark there. Here it says select all expressions that equal -7 minus a -12. -7, the two minus signs turn positive, so it becomes +12. And we know if we finish it off, that's equal to 5. Now, which equation, which solution represents that? This one. It's the only one that does. Select the correct answer. So they actually want us to do this problem. So we have 3/4 plus 7/12 minus a -4. Well, first things first is I'm going to make that positive. So I'm dealing with 3/4 plus 7/12 and then plus 4. Now let's get the common denominator. What would the common denominator be? That's like 4/1. So I need to convert them all into 12. So this time I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 4 here to get 12. Actually, top and bottom by 3 to get 12 on the bottom. So top and bottom by 3. Let's multiply the top and bottom by 3. You get 9/12. This stays the same, 7/12. And this time I need to have a 12 in the bottom. So I actually got to multiply the top and bottom by 12. So it's actually going to be 4 times 12 is 48. And then over 12. And now I can just keep going. And that's 16 plus 48 over 12. And when you add these two together, you're actually going to get 64. And that's 64 12. Now 12 goes into 64 5 times. And it remained 4 over 12, which reduces to 5 1/3. Now, it's 5 there, yeah, it is. Okay, let's do this problem. We have 2.1 plus a -3. All right, so that's 2.1 minus 3, and then plus 0.9. And now you can just do this from left to right. 2.1 minus 3 is actually just 0.9. And then it's actually a -0.9 plus 0. They actually cancel out. You get 0. Now 2.9. Remember, 2 minus 3 is 1. This is 2.1 minus 3, so it's -0.9, and then positive 0.9 goes to 0, and there's our answer. It's going to be 0. So it says the front side of a playhouse is shown in this scale. The height of the door in the drawing is 1.8 inches. The scale that maps the drawing to the actual playhouse is 1 inch to 2.5 feet. Using the scale, select the actual height of the playhouse. Well, they already told us that, well, it's kind of hard to see, but we're dealing with 1.8, and they said that 1 inch is 2.5 inches. So we could just multiply this by 2.5. All right, there's really no fast way to do it. I mean, we could just multiply it out. I mean, we get multiply that, and that's 40, and 5 is already 9, and then move it over, carry that. That's 2, and make that another 3. You can do it like that, and then add, carry that, and borrow that over there. Boom. And now we have one place and another place, so that makes 4.5. There it is. Let's move on. Again, we have this another proportional relationship. And what's the scale factor? How much does figure B bigger by how many times bigger is figure B than figure A? And if you just eyeball it, you see, well, this is a 3, 4, 5, and this is 9, 12, 15. And you can see the 3 goes with the 9, the 4 goes with the 12, the 5 goes with the 15. And yeah, you multiply these guys by 3, you'll get this bigger picture. So it's 3 times bigger. The scale of the image is 3 times bigger. And that is the solution for that. Now, select the volume of the figure. Oh, this is a good question. There's a lot of different ways to approach this. I mean, you could divide this figure into 2 pieces and then find the volume of the bottom and then the volume on the top and add them both together. I mean, that can easily be done because we know the height is, this is 2, and this is 2, and it goes back 4. Actually, 3. The height here is 2 because we know that's also 2 because it's 4, and that's also 2, and we know from top to bottom it's 4. So we have 2, 3, and 4. 2 times 3 times 4. Well, that's 6 times 4, which is 24. So this piece is the volume. The cubic centimeter volume is 24. And now what about the bottom part? Well, it's just going to be a 2 by 6 by 4. All right, so that's 2 by 6 by 4. That's 12 times 4. 12 times 4 is 48. And if we add two numbers together, we're just going to get, carry that up there. That's 12, carry the 1, that's 3 and 4, 7. 72 cubic centimeters is the volume, the total volume there, and that matches our solution as well. It says, based on the diagram, select the statements that are true. So what we can see is that ABD is a right triangle that makes 90 degrees. Also, this C divides it into 2, and not divides it evenly, but it does split into 2 angles. So we have ABC as an angle and CBD as another angle. These 2 angles make 90 degrees. Now, what we can say is that they're supplementary. And so what we can say, it's ABC and ABD together are complementary. ABD is not complementary. ABD is 90. Complementary means 2 adds up to 90. The sum is 90. That's what complementary means. The sum of 2 angles, or the sum of not just 2, in our case 2 angles, but it could be a number of angles, and the sum of them all could be complementary. But what about that last question? It says if, oh well, if the measure of angle ABC is 75, then CBD is 15. Well, that's true for sure because 75 plus 15 is 90, and we know ABD is a 90-degree angle. Here's another problem. It says based on the diagram, find the measure of YVZ. Well, in order to get YVZ, it's 3x plus 5. But to get the actual measurement, we need to figure out what x is. If we could figure out what x is, we could plug it all in. Well, we know these two will make 90 if we add them together. So that's 2x plus 3x plus 5. And if we add them together, that's going to be 5x plus 5. The whole thing is 90. And subtract that from 5. I'm getting 5x equals 85. X is just, well, 117. And now plug 17 into that. 3 times 17 is already 51 plus, let's see, 3 times 7, 17. Let's see, carry the 1, that's 3, that's 70, 35. Is 7, x is 7. So 3 times 17 is 1, carry the 2, 3 times 1 is 2, 51, plus 5 more makes 56. Now it says select the measure of YVZ. Well, we're getting, it says 3x plus 5. Well, that's odd. Well, we got 56 for ours. Let's just double check this. We have 2x and 3x plus 5 together makes 90. So we have subtract 5, get 85, divide both sides by 5. 85 divided by 5 is 17. Okay, 17 times 5 is definitely going to be 85. And 5 times the 10 is 50, and 5 and 7 is 35. 50 and 35 is 85. So we get 17 for x. X is 17. But when we go back in here, we say, well, if x is 17, then we know WVY would be 34. And that would make 56. Because together they make 90. So I don't really see why. I think they made a mistake. They're saying find the angle, select the measure of angle WVZ. in terms of degrees. It's actually 56, not 55. So that one should be changed. There's a problem with that. It turned out to be wrong. So there's just a few more problems left, and then we're going to wrap up this video. The radius for the circle is 7.5. Select the area in pi units. Well, we're just going to use pi. It would be 3.14, and then times 7.5 squared, and that's what you get for that. That area is equal to pi r squared. That's 3.14 times 7.5 squared to the second power. All right, and you square that first, then multiply by 0.14. A coach buys uniforms and a basketball for each of the 15 players. Each basketball costs $9, and the coach spends a total of $4.20 for uniforms. What is the cost of one uniform? So each basketball costs $9 and 15 players. So first it's going to be 9 times 15. That's already 90 plus 5, $135. And now let's subtract that from 420. So we got 285 left for each uniform, and divide that by 15. See how much can each uniform cost. It goes in there one time. And what are we getting? 13 left. Okay. And I believe that's going to be 9. And we're getting, so $19 can be spent on the uniforms after that. Linda has $26. She earns $6 for 1 hour of babysitting. She wants to buy a ski pass for $80. Select an inequality that shows the number of hours Linda must babysit. So she has 26, plus she makes $6 for every hour, and we need this value to be more than $80, and then she can pass. It could also say greater than or equal to 80. That would have also worked as well, but that's not an option, so we'll use that for the inequality. And all the other ones are different. This one's almost the same, but the inequality's changed. So we can't choose that. And then this is not correct. You distribute the age. That's not the same. All right. She has $20, so her starting value, and then she makes $6 an hour. And in order for her to buy the ski pass, she has to have more. She has to work more hours to make 80. So that's great. This problem, let's just solve this problem, and then it'll just fall right out for us. So we have 3x, and then distribute that 5 minus 20x plus 60. Distribute the minus sign. So we got minus x plus 3. And now let's combine like terms. Negative 17x plus 60 minus x plus 3. And now what are we getting? Well, we have negative 18x plus 63. And I knew that was negative because the minus x and the negative 17 made negative 18x, and then positive 60 plus another 3 makes that. And we can't say that this is true because that's what we got here in one of our steps as well. All right, it looks like the last solution, and this solution is pretty straightforward. If you just follow what Abby did and set that equal to what Renato did. Now Abby, all she does is take the number of miles, doubles it, and then subtracts 20% of the result. So that's really, she's going to double the number of miles and then subtract 20% of that amount. So 20%, that's 0.2 times the 2m. And then what Ronaldo did was first divide the number of miles by 5 and then multiply the result by 8. And so that's the same as dividing by 5, multiplying by 8. There's only one that will do that. All right, all the other solutions are no good. They're different. If you simplify it out, it's not what you get. So like, for example, if I were to keep going and multiply that, that's going to be 0.4 m. Nowhere is there one that equals that. And if I distribute the 8 or put it on top, whatever I want to do, it stays the same. It's just going to be 8m over 5. All right, but these are still somewhat equivalent in terms of what they did. So that is the pathway solution to the 8th grade summer exam. Those are the solutions. Make the corrections and should be good. Signing off. Have a good day.